No, that's fine.
Okay, so basically, our basic infra of Citrix. Look, let me keep this simple. Okay, let me share my entire desktop. Is it visible?
Yeah.
So basically, that is our basic diagram in Citrix data centers. So you can see the communication starts from end user device, then end user will hit the storefront URL, then it will ask end user to validate to enter the credentials, right? So once user enter the credential, that particular query, it will go to the delivery controller, and delivery controller, it is a master or the core component of the system. Delivery controller knows which server is responsible to validate the credentials. So it will forward the query to AD server, and once credentials are validated, then it will forward the query into the database to check into the database like what resources are published or available for that user. So once the resources are there and user clicks on the logon page, that particular output will go to the end user on the next page, and user will get some little tiles to power on the to download the ICA file, and that ICA file, it will be launched with the help of Citrix Workspace app. So once user double click on any particular tile, that query, it will go to the hypervisor to power it on that particular virtual machine and to make it available to the end user. So that is a kind of MCS infra, okay? Like basic infra, very kind of basic thing. But in Citrix, two things are there. Like basically, the older thing is PVS, and it is still recommended by Citrix only for the larger infra. Why? Because they guys do not have any other option. Because in the beginning, only PVS was there. MCS, it was introduced quite earlier, maybe in 2014 or 15. I'm not sure what is the exact time. And basically, MCS, it is introduced for the small organization, not for the big organization. Like in PVS, we used to have the VDIX, like virtual disk, and we can boot n number of devices from the single VDISC. And VDISC you can create as per your requirement, as per the department. You can create n number of VDISC. But on other hand, basically the major client for that PBS infra, as per my knowledge, is your, the big giants like in USA, like your SSBT Bank, then I think Bank of America. These are the known client from my side. Why? Because they are having over 1 lakh of BDI in their data center, and somewhere around like employees in millions over the globe, right? So they guys used to have it. What they guys do, they guys used to create their own data center. Their central data center, it is in, I think, USA, New York, or some other locations. But they used to create a sub data center or sub branch country-wise itself, like for SSBT, that is your state bank and corporation or trust, whatever it is. They guys having their main data center in New York, and apart from that, they have created multiple data centers in one. It is in your Asia Pacific, then Europe, then I'm not sure, multiple regions are there. Okay, so they guys used to do that in PVS. Why? Because they guys are reducing their resources, and they guys are reducing their storage cost actually, and storage cost is very very high actually when it comes to the upfront cost. So that is a kind of big infra, and these are the big giants. They guys are operating since hundred of years, right? When there was uh, nothing like the technology, they guys used to have the records on files or on the papers or on the document, right? Why? Because they guys are operating since hundreds of years. But now, at that time when Citrix and VMware launched, they guys the only, like, not these two only, multiple companies are there, but yeah, these big giants are only able to pay that much of amount for the virtualization, and they can afford that upfront cost. So they use that technology, and over the years, their end user count, their VDI count increasing and increasing and still increasing. Okay, so for big giants, PVS is recommended by the Citrix, but there is no other option. Why? Because they are the older guys, and their entire infra is still running on the PVS, and they guys cannot migrate their data center so quickly. It will be very very costly if it will go with the MCS, machine creation services. Now, in machine creation services, how in machine creation services, आ रहा हूँ in machine creation services, there is no VDX involved, right? If you are operating with hundred of virtual machines, you have to provide separate storage for every target device or every, like, virtual machine or the physical machine, whatever you are managing. So here, what we are doing, we are completely increasing. We are not wasting the resources. We are increasing the hardware utilization. We are increasing the upfront cost. And why I'm not using that word, why they guys are not wasting the resources, I will let you know. Just give me a minute. क्या हो गया? Okay, guys. So basically, MCS is storage based solution, and your PVS, that is network based solution. So now, if let me show you one thing. If I will be able to locate that. It's not downloaded or blank. Okay, so basically, as you can see, is it visible, guys?
Yes. Yeah.
So basically, you can see like MCS and PVS. So this is a kind of basic diagram. Like in MCS, what we can do, we can provide look PVS that is a kind of very limited. Why? Because in PVS you have to stream a single VDX, and that VDX it will be virtual only, and all the target devices or physical device or virtual device, whatever the device you have, all the devices will get boot from that stream virtual disk. That is the PVS. But now in PVS, what we are doing, we have created one single virtual disk, and hundred of devices are booting from that single VDX, right? So that means that particular VDX it will be into read only mode. Means end user will get only OS from that particular VDX. Why? Because if we put that in read and write mode, hundred of users are logging in, right? They can modify our VDX, right? So PBS it will always works in read only mode. You cannot provide any dedicated desktop to end user with the provisioning services. You can provide, but in that case you have to create a separate VDX for that particular user. So instead of creating a separate VDX, what we can do, we can use machine creation services. Why? Because in machine creation services, we must have to provide a dedicated virtual disk for every device. Now, your PVS, this is the older one, right? But now MCS came into the market, and the benefit for MCS are with the help of MCS, you can provide random and static VDI both. In PVS, you can only provide the random one, means whatever the device is available, user can use that device. But in PVS, you can, sorry, in MCS, you can provide random and static both the things. Like static is also known as a dedicated one, and you can provide like if I talk about the types of VDI, so basically in production, the guys used to have the NPP and persistent VDI, like non-persistent and persistent VDI. So persistent VDI are the dedicated one, and non-persistent VDI are the random one. So now if I talk about the pool, two pools are there, random and static. So what is a pool? Pool is nothing. You can consider like it's a group of the virtual machines. So when any of the for an example, we are having one pool for the developer team, right? And inside that pool, we are having 10 virtual machines, which needs to be published to the developer team. So in static pool, every developer will get the same virtual machine whenever he log in for next time. That particular machine is static for that specific user. But in random pool, what will happen? For an example, in a pool, if 10 virtual machines are there and one user sign off, so that available machine, it is in read only and random machine, and that machine, it will be delivered to the next available user. Any doubt, guys, here in difference between MCS and PVS? These are the basic difference. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
These are the very very deep things, so I do not want you guys to go into that right now. Once we'll deploy the infra, then I will guide you. Okay, guys. So okay, guys. One more thing, as I told you, like like PVS works on the network. It is a network base, right? So if that is network base, in that case, our devices will be getting some IP addresses, right? So basically, PVS architect, it works on the DSCP server. So I think you guys might know, like DSCP is work on the DORA process, that is discover, offer, request, and acknowledgement, right? So initially, what will happen if my laptop is working on the PBS, and if my laptop is working on PBS, so that means there is no physical or virtual hard drive which attached to my laptop. My laptop is without any storage, only RAM and CPU is there. So, okay. So once I plug my laptop to my network or the LAN cable, so what it will do, it will go to DSCP server for first, then DSCP server gives some offer to my laptop to get that IP, whatever the IP is available. Then my laptop request for it, and acknowledgement is given. So like these four steps will provide the IP address to my laptop. So once my laptop got the IP address, after that what will happen, my laptop will read the TFTP file. So TFTP file is configured in DSCP scope at port number 69. That is a kind of config file. Inside that file, some information are there, like information of PVS server, like PVS server, information of VDix. And so once it will download the PVS like TFTP file, from that TFTP file, it will open that TFTP file, and inside that TFTP file, one file is there that is known as ardb32.bin. So basically that bin file consider the information of the DSCP and not DSCP PVS server. So it will directly go to that particular IP of PBS server, and it will initiate the PBS login process. So once it will hit the PBS server will know like that connection is coming from the DSCP server, so that is trusted, and it will start the logon process. It will boot up the laptop with the Steam VDix, and or your streaming will be started, and that is my target device, means that is my laptop, desktop, or physical or virtual machine. That is our DSCP server, and inside DHCP server, two options we have to configure, like ARDP, like your bin file, and port number 66. In port number 66, we have to provide the PVS server IP address. Have you ever, guys, have you ever worked on DHCP scope in deep?
A little bit,
Little bit.
almost like the Pixie boot.
Yeah,
Kind of.
PXE boot, and that I will guide you, like once you guys will reach here. Okay. In PBS, two services are very, very important: TFTP services and your PXE boot services. PXE boot service is not here right now, but I will let you know. PBS works on only four services are there. This is very, very simple, very, very advanced, and very, very like useful for the big giants. Apart from that, that is that is a kind of working in PBS, like that is my virtual machine, that is my PBS server. My virtual machine will request for VDIX to my PBS server. My PBS server will allocate the VDIX to that virtual machine, and it will start streaming the virtual disk to that virtual machine. And what are the write cache? Basically, write cache, it is a small storage which is attached to the target devices, that is 16 MB in size. Okay, so it will store some temporary files, some logs in that, and after reboot, these write cache and logs, it will go away every time. And if you want that document in deep, what I can do, I can send the document to you. Like multiple theory things are there. Whenever you will get time, you can go through it. That is the only reason why I actually hate to provide the documentation part. Why? Because practical is always works.
I think, Mahesh, the way you explained the difference between PVS and machine MCS,
Mm-hmm.
like I know, like my IT director is actually trying to deploy, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
using cheaper laptops instead of regular Windows, Lenovo-based laptops. So I'm not sure if you have heard about the company named IGEL.
Mm-hmm.
So they are like so, and they and you want to deploy it in a way that
Mm-hmm.
IGEL computers are Linux-based computers, and you want to deploy it along with Citrix. And remember, like when you mentioned about the computing, like the RAM and processor
Right.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have any storage.
Right. Right.
And when you talk about PVS, that triggered in my mind that okay, that maybe in the background he's trying to deploy that thing,
Just
PVS.
just try to get the information as much as possible. Okay. Then I will
Sure.
guide you
Okay.
in correct way.
Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
guys.
good.
So in this call, only 3 minutes are remaining. So I'm going to terminate the call. Okay. And I will be waiting for Ryan to revert in next few minutes or half an hour. If not, then we'll connect tomorrow morning with the practicals. Okay. And
Sure.
Philip, how much time like it will take for you to reach out your destination?
15 minutes.
Right now, what is the time for you guys?
8:40.
8:40. Okay. Okay, so please go there. I'm also going for a break, and let's see if we connect or not. Okay, or else we continue tomorrow.
Sure. Both continue at 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock
Yeah.
something.
Okay. In the meantime, Davinder, what you can do, just try to recreate the infra what you have destroyed. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.